Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula is confident that all trains will be running by December. He was speaking at the launch of the National Rail Policy White Paper yesterday. But is this a realistic task given the amount of work that still needs to be done? Let's go to reporter Lindokuhle Xulu, who's following developments. He joins us now for more. Lindo, what has been the reaction from unions and other people that you've spoken to the policy white paper that was launched by the minister yesterday?
Well, Maseko, the long and short of it is that unions are saying it's wishful thinking from the minister as well as PRASA in terms of getting trains to be fully operational in the December deadline. But I can tell you that at the back of this is because of the extensive damage that has been suffered by PRASA as well as the infrastructure rail in and around the country. We are in Soweto, one of the stations that is called Mlamlankunzi, just a few meters from Orlando Stadium. I can actually see it as from where I am, but they are simply saying that because of the extent of damage, they do not believe that the minister can in fact be able to implement a turnaround plan that would ensure that trains are running at this stage. Before we actually give you a sense of what these unions have spoken about, one of them is of course the United National Transport Union, that is said to be one of the biggest in the rail industry. We do understand that the reason behind this is the damage we are about to show you. I want to first start and tell you what you are looking at right now. This is concrete that's literally been dug out here. It's actually tar. This was actually tar road that you are seeing right here. And this is exactly what you are seeing, meters and meters of such a picture. It's a symbol of what has been taking place in terms of the vandalism, in terms of been going on, as well as the extent of the damage. Now, Nuku will just show you, and Nuku Malachi, my colleague, will show you in terms of the extent of this damage as far as things is the brazen act that was taking place during the COVID-19 lockdown. It's continuing even now we are out of, and the issues around the security of some of the infrastructure has been spoken about. But more than anything, we also just want to give you a shot of this train station. This is sort of a picture or a symbol in terms of what you will see as you move around many of the train stations, certainly around Soweto. This is the same picture. So this is why unions are speaking about the fact that it's quite impossible to say that all of this damage, billions and billions of damage in terms of infrastructure, can be solved within this year. We do know that the minister was also talking about a long-term plan in terms of the white policy when it comes to the railway infrastructure, saying that they want to bring in the private sector to actually sort out some of these issues, take some of the routes and actually operate in them. They are saying that that will solve the issue of the cost, because they themselves as government cannot be able to possibly fix this alone. So those are some of the things we do know are being a solution in terms of what the minister as well as PRASA are bringing to the table. But one of the things that unions have said is that it's impossible in a short term in terms of getting this on track, looking at the infrastructure damage. But on a long term, we do understand that that white policy will be, open for public opinion. And then they will also just be speaking to private companies, private stakeholders in terms of willingness to actually take over this. But according to some unions, they do not see this working. They do not see these trains getting back on track as far as what the minister has said. In fact, they are saying that they are projecting at least, if Treasury comes into the party, at least 5 years to fix the rest of the infrastructure. So I did say that we spoke to one of those unions, that is UNTU, basically telling us that they have no confidence in the minister. He's come up with what seemed like a robust interventions to try and fix this railway situation. But at the end of the day, they believe that what he is putting to the table is not something that is sustainable, in a sense that it will not work. Take a listen to one of those unions explaining to us why they believe that this will not work.
There's a big problem with that white paper. Luckily, it's only a draft, and I believe it will only be a draft. And the timeline, if I look at it, says 2050. But the question is, which private company is going to be willing to invest in a bankrupt company where they can't pay their people salaries, overtime, and, of course, in the infrastructure that we have, it's going to cost billions. I can't understand and I can't see. We're not a European country. We're an African country. We need to do things by ourselves. Are they trying to dump the employees? That's our biggest concern. The other concern is to who's going to fix the lines, who's going to fix the train sets, who's going to fix the infrastructure. But the most important, who's going to take over the most important human resource, the employees? Are they going to bring their own people to work here? That's our question. So the white paper, according to us, I think there will be a few comments on that, but I think it's wish thinking that by 2050 that all these things will be in place. The problem that we have is also that we're sitting with Transnet, which falls under one minister, one department like Treasury, Enterprise, and you've got Praza that sits with Transport. How do you marry the two of them in the same white paper? That makes me confused.
Linda, just before I let you go, I mean, this is something that also affects the commuters themselves, but I'm interested to know about the security. You said you spoke to a few security guards who had complaints of their own in terms of how they're prohibited from actually executing their duties.
Off-camera conversation when it comes to those security guards that were around the Pretoria station, and I can tell you that they also have their complaints in terms of the conditions which they work with. Of course, first and foremost is the issue of morale. They are saying that they still have outstanding issues when it comes to them being paid overtime. From 2020 they weren't able to receive that money, and it's something that is a matter of concern to them. It's still within the conversations that they would be having internally, but there's an issue in terms of the morale. But more than anything, you would expect that these security guards, given the brazen nature that have been displaying to you, as well as what we've been hearing in terms of those that would be stealing the cables here, that would be vandalizing the area, that would be getting everything they need to salvage to get the quick buck. I can tell you that they mentioned that these people are armed to the teeth, and they themselves are not willing and able actually to go to these stations to protect them, to protect the infrastructure, even when there are warnings that there is such an act that is taking place. And this is because this security guard I was speaking to was unarmed, did not have a bulletproof vest, and was speaking that the department told them that there's simply no money to actually buy all of these apparatus that one would need to operate in this industry. So those are some of the things we're just getting in terms of those offline conversations, but online conversations as well from unions are saying that this has been a problem for years, and that it does not make sense to be prioritizing the fixing of the railway if there is still this vandalism that is at play, and that is quite prevalent in terms of the railway stations that we are seeing now.
All right, Lindokuhle Xulu in Soweto. Let's leave it there for now.